Hello, I am so excited that you are here once again to draw with me for Zentangle Explore. And this is a class where we draw simple lines, one Zentangle pattern in all kinds of different exploratory ways, really, really slowly while breathing. So if you have a pen, I have a 01, but you can have even just a ballpoint pen and then some little pieces of paper. They can be any which size, just little ones, so you don't feel the pressure of drawing on big pieces, or you could draw with a Sharpie on a big piece of paper. Totally up to you. All right, so we are going to get started, and let's first start with some breathing and settling into this space so we can draw really slowly. So get nice and comfortable in your seat. You can close your eyes if you'd like. I'm going to close mine. And just check in with your breath. Hello, breath. Welcome to this day, or this night, or whenever you're watching this video if you're on replay. Just notice breathing. What does it feel like to breathe? Perhaps notice where you can feel it in your body. Perhaps there's a lifting, an expanding, contracting. Perhaps there's a sensation of clothing on skin. Maybe you can hear your breathing in your throat or your nose, or just in your ears. Maybe you can feel your breathing, not just on your skin, but on the inside skin. Feel it expanding in the lungs, leaving the lungs through the throat, back of the throat. Maybe you can feel it in your nose when it enters, or maybe when it exits. However you feel it is absolutely perfect. Just bring your attention, gentle awareness, the simple act of breathing. Now that you're noticing the inhale and the exhale, maybe you'll notice that there's an itty bitty tiny little rest at the top of the inhale and the bottom of the exhale. If your mind wanders away, starts to have a conversation about breathing or something else, just bring it back to that gentle cycle. Lifting and expanding with the inhale, a baby little rest. Contracting and releasing on the exhale, and a baby little rest. Allowing everything else in your awareness to just settle. Perhaps see it floating down to the floor or the ground, wherever you are, and just being and resting. Allowing your body to settle as you continue to breathe. And in your own time, in your own way, just on your very own, take 3 deeper breaths. An inhale and an exhale. Just counting. Deeper breath can just be deeper than what you were breathing before. Releasing fully. Allowing the breath to be just as it is. And when you're done with your third breath, you can open your eyes and know that whatever we create together will be perfect just as it is. Okay, welcome back, everybody. I love breathing before drawing, especially when I'm trying to slow down my drawing. Very helpful. All right, so I'm going to change my camera and we will draw. Okay, so I have this 01 Micron. I also have Sharpie. I also have a fountain pen. I have all kinds of things. I don't know what I will play with, but it's nice to have lots of supplies available in case you change your mind, and all kinds of different pieces of paper. So you can choose a piece of paper to draw on. I like to draw on watercolor, but you could draw on cardstock or envelopes or whatever you have on hand. All right, so let's get started. So today's pattern is called Sea Urchin by Loretta Botticini. And it's really simple and super fun and has lots of availability for modifying what we're doing. So let's start somewhere on your page. Just a little dot. And really slowly just spiral around that dot. And it doesn't need to look like anything in particular. Just a little spiral. And it can be a little wobbly like mine. Totally fine. It can stop here. It can keep going around whenever you like. And then we're going to draw just little lines. We're going to add little spines to our little sea urchin. Simple little pattern. And so in Zentangle Explore, we like to take this simple pattern and explore in all different ways, and explore in ways that are calling to you, not necessarily what I am drawing on my page. So now that you know what the pattern is, you can draw it however you'd like. So let's just pay attention to what the elements are of this pattern. So we have this spiral, and then we have these little lines. So you can ask yourself, how many loops do I want to put on this spiral? Do my lines have to be the same length? Maybe my lines could be fatter, thicker, that is. Maybe my lines are squiggly lines. Maybe the initial shape isn't based on a circle, but maybe a rectangular spiral. Whatever thought pops into your head about what if it looked like this? What if I changed it in this way? Is the absolute perfect thing to explore. You'll notice there isn't a lot of darkness or black. You could draw with a thicker pen, you could add a little darkness to the center here. You can add a little starting orb for fun. I'm going to show you something else. The other thing you can do is you can add a little rounding. We talked about that a little bit in this class. But this might be your first time at this class. So rounding is where you just add a little black dark webbing wherever there are corners. And it may be that you decide you only want to round one of these sides, not both of these sides. And that is totally perfect. Maybe your little spines are not equidistant. Maybe they have some sort of an odd spacing between them. So the whole point of this class is drawing slowly, so slowly, just little slow lines. When we slow down our lines in our hand, our pen, we have the ability to watch what's happening on the page. And also a greater ability to hear a quiet little voice inside that says, what if you did this? What if you did this? Sometimes when that voice comes up, I argue with it. And I say, no, that would be silly. Why would I want to do that? And the voice will come back and say, come on, try it. And sooner or later, I give in. And I am always surprised and delighted by what happens because it's always something that I wouldn't have thought of on my own. And that little inspiration voice inside, it knows things. It knows things that we don't always know. So I've learned to listen to it. Now you can start a new piece of paper whenever you'd like. Or you can fill up this page. You can draw these super huge. You can play with the angle of how these spines come out. They don't need to be perpendicular to the shape necessarily. We are drawing sea urchins that have never been seen before. And the really fun part about drawing like this, following your own inspiration, is that if we lined them all up, I was able to see everybody's that took this class, maybe even for a whole year. What if we had 100 people? And we had all of their little explorations. I am betting that almost all of them would be different. Even though the pattern itself is the same, everybody would draw something different because everybody's internal inspiration would be different. And that is just so super fun. So no matter what you're drawing, just keep doing it slowly. And if you find yourself speeding up, that's okay. Back to your breath. Relax your hand and slow down. Now, I am generally challenged by crossing over lines, so I am challenging myself today to just draw on top of other lines. You might decide that your little sea urchin has lines on the inside too. maybe little cilia, little cleaning cilia on the inside. Just baby little hairs that clean things out as the water swooshes in and out of the little sea urchin. Maybe. And it's totally up to you. So the other way you can add black to this is you can play with your little spines, adding some weighting to the lines, not just where they connect, but along the spines themselves. And you may find some other fantastic way to add black or color to this that I'm not even thinking of. And that means that it's the perfect idea. Absolutely perfect. And you ought to try it. And if you want to write it in the comments of the video once it's posted, or when you're done drawing, you can do that. And then you'd be able to share it, share your beautiful exploration idea with me and everybody else who watches the video, which would be so super fun. The beautiful way about of drawing like this is that there's no wrong way to do it. And it helps us, or at least it helps me, to give myself permission to do things that are maybe a little wild and perhaps I think are horror of horrors, not allowed. Breaking the rules. It's fun to break the rules when you know that you're super safe. Using a pen and a piece of paper, nothing else is happening. Maybe you decide that your creative black, creative color is going to come in the form of orbs on the outside of these little lines. We can always add whatever we want to this. Once the basic elements are there, you can drop off an element. If you don't like the lines and you just want to draw little spirals and all kinds of different shapes, you can do that. Like maybe you have a triangle urchin. Maybe your little spines are triangles instead of lines. And what is a triangle but just two lines spread apart instead of one line? And what's nice about this is when you explore, then you can say, okay, now I have, it's like a brainstorm. Now I have all these different ways of doing this, and I can look at it and say, well, which one do I really, really love? Which one, when I was drawing it, I thought, wow, that was so fun. I want to keep drawing that. And you have a pen, and you have paper, and you can. And your little creation that you love to draw can show up on envelopes that get put in the mail, even if they're bills. And it can show up on your grocery list. It can show up on your journal if you journal. It can show up on a birthday card or a thank you note. It can show up on a grocery list or maybe a lunchbox note to a child going to school. It's always fun to find surprise art. always find when I allow my mind to just be as it is and just stop all of the figuring and the planning and everything else it loves to do, and just let my pen wander without actually thinking about it. Not even thinking about, well, what do I do this? What if I do that? What would that look like? Just let it play. That's when the really cool stuff comes out. And it never would have come onto the page if I hadn't stopped trying to put something on the page that I liked, or trying not to put something on the page that I didn't like. It takes a lot of work to do that. So much work. It's way more fun to just watch your pen, give it permission to just go for a walk and see what comes out of it. You may be delighted. I'm teaching Zentangle classes for over 10 years. And every time I teach the same patterns in a beginning Zentangle class, somebody in the class does something that I've never seen before when I've taught hundreds of students. And it astounds me every time. Wow, all the times that I've taught this class and all the times that I've seen people draw and all the times that I've drawn this pattern over and over again in new ways and even seeking out new ways I'd never thought about that way. This new person in my class did so easily and so naturally. We are creative beings. So creativity is our natural state. And our brain likes to control everything. And so we can give it opportunities to just take a break, a little rest, a little nap. Let your brain go on a nap while you're drawing. And all kinds of amazing things can happen that delight you, make you want to draw more lines. And well, that is so fun. Just let your lines wiggle. Wiggle away, little lines, wiggle away. When you notice yourself speeding up, like I am, just breathe. And slow down. What I also love about Zentangle is there's no Zentangle police. No one's gonna come into your home and look at what you're drawing and say, that's not Zentangle. You don't have enough lines in that pattern. You need to start over. None of that's gonna happen. And so if there's no outside Zentangle police, then why would you choose to be your own Zentangle police? Just doesn't sound like fun. When instead, you could be the opposite and give yourself permission to draw all kinds of interesting and wild things just because you can. These would be super fun on an envelope, just scattered throughout, just enough to make the postman say, hey, what's happening over there? Something is on the page. Maybe your little sea urchins only have spines on half. Maybe they don't even go all the way around. Slowing down, continuing to breathe, watching the ink on the page. And when you think you've drawn it every which way you could possibly draw it, just ask yourself, what if I looked at it differently? What if I turned my tile upside down? I started drawing upside down. What if I added color? That's the lovely thing about life and drawing, and what drawing teaches us about life, is that there's always a new perspective, because when you get into a group of people and you start talking about things that are going on in the world, everybody has their own idea of what's actually happening, and sometimes their own version of what's happening. And it's kind of astounding. And every single one of those people is right, because what they're thinking and feeling is their choice and totally up to them. And we can argue with them about it. We can get all upset about it, but it's really only just making us upset. We don't have to be upset. We could just let them do whatever they're doing and keep thinking what we're thinking and not fight about it. And so, if any of your little Zentangle creatures here are having judgments about each other, imagine them arguing on the page. You're too big, you're too small, your lines are squiggly, your lines are running over my lines. Just notice that that's happening, and then maybe laugh about it and say, all right, everybody, let's all be friends. Let's just all be friends. Lines are just lines. Opinions are just opinions. There are lots of them to have. For everybody on the replay, these classes are live, and there are live students drawing along with me. And we always do a share at the end. We look at what everybody's drawn. And every single time I'm amazed, because they've all drawn way different things than what I've drawn. And I love it because it gives me inspiration. And then I can say, oh my gosh, I totally didn't think about that, but I would love to try that. Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing that with me. It's really, really fun. And anyone who's on the replay who wants to come to the live class, you can. You can find classes at eternalpossibility.com. And it would be very fun to meet you and draw with you. I love about drawing. The lines are so versatile and flexible, and they're amazing. Pile up and they do cool things. They are super fun. And if you have a pen and a piece of paper, you can just draw forever and ever and ever and never draw the same thing twice. And that is super fun. And even if you draw the same thing, you draw it smaller and you draw it medium, then you draw it bigger, you draw it even bigger and even smaller, it totally changes what it looks like because of the perspective, which gets me back to we all see things differently. Someone looking under a microscope sees things very differently than somebody looking at that same thing with their human eyes or binoculars. It's very, very cool. When you find the one that you really like to draw, the way you really like to draw this, if you find one, then you can do one page of just drawing just that thing, lots and lots of them. Maybe group them together in different ways. Maybe add a color background. Maybe commit to drawing this, exploring this for a whole week. This be your little calming drawing pattern for the week. And see what happens. You might be amazed. It's very possible. Slowing down, breathing, allowing whatever shows up to just be there. Say hello, new line that I've never seen before. You are interesting. I wonder why you've come to share with me and what you've come to share with me. I'm delighted to meet you. Thank you for showing up on my page. And you might notice, even after drawing, especially after drawing this long, that you might have a tendency to draw something the same way every time. When you look at your tile, you can say, hey, am I making the same choice just automatically? And what if I change that choice? And sometimes it just takes a little awareness to step back from what you're doing and say, oh, yeah, I guess I just automatically begin drawing in this way. Maybe reverse your spiral. Let's see what happens if you reverse your spiral. Little sea urchins may look completely different. And in doing that, I just found a brand new way to draw this, which I super duper love. So I am so grateful to all of you for being here with me and helping me to discover something new. It's so great. All right. Here are my explorations. Yours will likely look very different than mine, and that is absolutely expected and perfect. Okay, camera. Thank you so much for drawing with me. I am so excited that you came to draw, and keep drawing, keep drawing. So thank you so much. And if you would like to donate to these classes, you can do so at paypal.me/eternalpossibility. And you can check out future classes at eternalpossibility.com. All right, bye.